Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Welcome to the afternoon tea. I'm Allyna.
I'm Charlotte.
Cheers. What do we have in our cups today?
Apple juice.
Ha ha ha.
It's hot out. We need to stay hydrated.
Yeah, and we both love apple juice.
Yeah. All right. Happy Sunday, everybody.
Happy Sunday.
Also happy post Met Gala Monday.
Yes.
I don't know which Met Gala this was. I should have what year it was. I feel like the 75th or something.
It probably is. Don't quote us.
It's up there. Allyna and I had the pleasure of seeing it early. I was gifted a Met membership, and you get early viewing access to new exhibits. And it was so nice because we had our own time slot, and it wasn't overtly crowded. And it's also been really nice to see exhibits with other people who enjoy art as much as we do. Not that the average Met goers not enjoying the art,
but it kind of weeds out the people that are just going to go.
But yeah, it was nice because we spent an hour in there, and it is a larger exhibit, and there's a lot to see and read. And it's also kind of dark in there, so I feel because a lot of the garments are old, so I feel you need to really get up close in there and see everything.
Yeah, and so it was nice to not feel like we're in everybody's way or that they're in our way. And I don't know about you, but okay, first of all, shout out for you being a member and for taking me along with you.
Yeah.
But I felt so VIP because it was
nice.
Literally members only.
Yeah.
I was whoa, we have kind of exclusive access right now.
Yeah. I feel I'm an advocate for being a member because it's $100 for the year and you get a free ticket every time you go.
It's it's an investment that I think is worth it.
Patrons of the arts.
Patrons of the art. That's what we are.
Yeah.
So I feel we should kind of get into what the theme is this year.
Yep.
It was very, I think, important to have this theme.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes themes in the past, and I'm curious to know your take too, can be very frivolous, whereas this one had a lot of layers to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel this one definitely had more meaning than in the past.
Yeah.
But I feel the American fashion theme kind of was starting to usher our way in there because people were trying to do smaller American designers and showcasing, not everyone who's a super famous designer. So I feel it was a good gateway into what we have now.
Yeah.
But I feel I haven't really fell in love with the exhibit besides the Catholic one.
What was that called? Wait,
I can look Heavenly Bodies.
Heavenly Bodies.
Okay.
Yeah, good
I
job.
saw that they had an exhibit at the Met Cloisters, and it was so magical, and
God.
it felt so surreal with all of the old art, all the old religious art, and then they had dressings around the altars, and had a Garden of Eden set up, and it was really cool. And I feel the camp exhibit was fun, but I feel this one I was really more immersed in than the past since Heavenly Bodies.
Yes. I feel Heavenly Bodies was my gateway into the Met. Loving it, loving the art of it. And I just remember Rihanna's outfit for that gala, and it was so iconic.
I can't remember what she was wearing. Was it gold?
It had a lot of gold on it. She also had the Pope hat.
Oh, right.
I can't even know what that's called.
Right. But I really like Zendaya's. I feel she was Joan of Arc.
Yes.
I really like that.
Her hair was so cool.
Yeah.
I remember they did a really cool style for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very Joan.
Yeah. Very Joan, very Lord Farquaad, as some annoying people might say.
I mean, maybe they're not that wrong. It is Lord Farquaad adjacent.
Yeah.
So a little fun fact about the Met Gala is that this is something I honestly didn't really know until becoming more immersed in the fashion industry, is that the Met Gala is based on the exhibit from the costume department at the Met.
I think what happens is every year they have their exhibit, their new fashion exhibit, and then they have the gala to bring in money. I don't know. I don't think does all the money go to the costume institute? I thought it just went to the gala as a whole.
I can't.
I think the money goes to the Met as a whole because a minimum ticket. I should look this up. Is I feel at least $50K.
Whoa.
Also, I feel it pays their workers. And when you buy
there's
a ticket,
a lot that
it goes
into
it.
Yeah. and like maybe the curators too of like a lot of the things. But yeah, so the Met theme, I guess, was called like Tailored for You, and that's based on the Tailoring Black Style.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because as we were going through the exhibit, we learned a lot of history.
Yeah. Very historical. We saw a lot of really cool historical pieces.
Yeah, that dated back to like 1700s.
Yeah. Yeah. Like an original Brooks Brothers jacket.
Oh my God.
So insane.
That was crazy.
Yeah. And Frederick Douglass's outfits.
Yes, his little glasses.
I was like, wow, that is like, it's so crazy. Sometimes I'm like such a nerd. I'm like, it's so cool that we're seeing all this really old stuff.
I know.
Like our eyes are witnessing history.
No, literally. I remember you literally saying that in there. You were like, we're looking at this right now.
Yeah.
And it's so true. It's, it's easy to think of it as something that almost doesn't exist because we weren't there.
Yeah.
But when you see these like physical pieces.
Yeah.
So cool.
It is really cool. And I also have always loved, like, had a special place in my heart for menswear. And I feel like some people this year are like, oh, like, what is this theme like even about? Just like talking about people, like with people in passing, like, is it just like men's suiting? And I'm like, no, it's like so much more than that.
So much more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did some research this morning and there's so much more I could have done. But this is what I gathered. And also from like what we took from the exhibit is this theme was centered a lot around dandyism. Dandyism is kind of like adjacent to revolutionary ideologies, freedom, kind of like breaking out of the norm. And dandyism started with, his name was Beau something. I will have to think of his last name. But he was a middle-class Englishman, was kind of the first person that really put thought into his dress, which was kind of just reserved for the bourgeoisie.
Mm-hmm.
It was like aristocrats that kind of wore all the fun, fashionable items of the era. But this man was like, I can do that too. And it kind of started this movement. And Black dandyism had the same idea of like, we want to be seen as more than slaves. Like, we want to be respected. And so the way they chose their dress under dandyism was a form almost of protest and of like legitimizing who they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that even falls into a bunch of different like words that like had fallen under dandyism.
Yeah.
But it'd be like power and like hold on. I wrote all of them down. Ownership and presence, distinction, disguise, freedom, beauty, heritage, cosmopolitanism, juk, and cool.
Love.
But definitely I feel like the presence and distinction of like coming out, I feel like they did it like their own way, maybe even like better, dressing up as like some of the other, people they were even working for or whatever. And I feel like throughout history, people don't like want to acknowledge like this was like a trend that started like within the Black culture, even from like, different types of music to like fashion. I feel like it's so important to like identify like the like they're the trendsetters and some of this stuff, that we saw.
Absolutely. And I'm so excited to dive into the looks and kind of bringing it into how like Black culture was the trendsetter. Like seeing these pieces from the gala, it's like, oh my God, I'm seeing what era this emerged from in Black history. It's amazing. There's a couple quotes that I have like from the exhibit that they like used to describe what this exhibit was about. So this was kind of an overview by the Met. So they say, the Costume Institute's Spring 2025 exhibition presents a cultural and historical examination of Black style over 300 years throughout the concept of dandyism. In the 18th century Atlantic world, a new culture of consumption fueled by the slave trade, colonialism, and imperialism enabled access to clothing and goods that indicated wealth, distinction, and taste, which is exactly what you said. Black dandyism sprung from the intersection of African and European style traditions.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It's so cool. I feel like it's such a good time. I feel like such like a good time to even like have this exhibit in general. I feel like I couldn't have picked a better theme for this year. It's like such a sign of the times. And like we had talked about this briefly, is that some people have distaste towards the exhibit because it seems like out of touch, like all
Mhm.
these celebrities like dressing up in like all these rich expensive clothes and like going to this gala that like
Mhm.
we would never even be close to being invited to going to.
Maybe one day.
Yeah. But you know, art is expensive, fashion is expensive, and we
Yeah.
can still
Appreciate
enjoy
it.
and appreciate it. Like,
I think you can have both of like
yeah,
critique the elite, you know,
yeah,
hold the elite accountable, but also appreciate the art. And I think there's a lot more to be critical of from the elite than the Met Gala,
right.
which is, I think, like, one, it goes back to the Met, like that
Mm-hmm.
money goes towards funding art
And the people,
and the people.
yeah,
And also, like, art is integral to society, you know?
yeah,
And I think people can just easily criticize the wrong things so quickly, or like they fail to see the bigger picture. And I
mm-hmm.
also think it can go back to sexism in some way, where things that are deemed more feminine are seen as
Right.
like less legitimate.
Right. And like I feel like sometimes people are so critical of our women's
The
things.
things
And
that
like
we enjoy.
what about all the sporting events you guys watch?
I know.
Those are
Give
expensive.
us the
Those
Met Gala.
players get paid a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Sorry, am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah, it's ours. We can do whatever we want.
But even like the gala in itself like is a gala, but then like there's the exhibit that so many people, like thousands of
Yes.
people like from all over the
It's
world
so
are gonna
accessible.
go and like see this exhibit.
Yeah.
And the Met, like even if you're a New Yorker, it's pay what you wish. So
Yes.
like I don't know, a couple years ago I remember like I would just like, oh, here's like $1 because like I
No,
was
yeah,
like a
literally.
student. I was like, I'm not gonna pay to get in here, but I still want to
Right.
see all the art.
Yeah, and I think the gala does a good job at like encouraging people to see the
Yeah.
exhibit, to pay the
Yeah.
money to see the art. And so I personally have no problem with being able to appreciate the design
Yeah.
and the costumes.
It's also like such a fun like thing. They started live streaming it in 2021. Like, yeah, I'm gonna watch the live stream. I'm gonna see
Yeah.
like what's going on. I love like every event, like the Oscars, to
Mhm.
like hear just like seeing what people are wearing because like I work in fashion. Like I want to see what
Yes.
everybody's wearing.
Yeah. I feel like we should get into some of our favorite looks and like maybe why
Yeah.
we liked them. And I know we saw looks, you know, from obviously the gala and also from the exhibit. So maybe we can,
Yeah, maybe we should start with like from the gala.
yeah, let's do it.
I feel like my first favorite that pops in my head is Janelle Monáe
Mm-hmm.
wearing Tom Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And is his name Paul Tazwell? He was the first ever Black costume designer to win the Oscar for Best Costume
Wow.
for Wicked.
Love. The Wicked costumes
Yeah.
were unbelievable.
Yeah, phenomenal. Such an insane like set design for that show already, but I'm looking at her look now.
Love.
I feel like it was very reminiscent of some like contemporary modern painting to me. And it really bothers me. And I can't remember like which painting it is, but coming out and like her little like box and then like unveiling her outfit, and she was so like animated.
Yes.
But I feel like the collaboration with Paul and Tom Brown was so good. I was like, this is like such a thing to do. I feel like some of my favorite looks of the Met, like are obviously using Black designers, like you can tell when like, you know, some of these like gala goers like really cared about their like look and like did their research and did their homework.
And when they got like the memo of the theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of Tom Brown's like dressing in general just like was so good because like obviously his like brand is like very tailoring, very into the dandyism. But I feel like in the past couple of years, I feel like there's been like a Tom Brown like surgeons where like, you know, people are like in like these androgynous dressings and like very cool.
It's so cool. And I feel like androgynous dressing was such a theme of like even the history of it, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like playing with gender.
Yeah.
Like women can wear these more masculine pieces. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, and I feel like it was like at first I was like, oh, like what if people want to wear a dress? And like there was some, we'll get into like some like appropriate like dressings. Yeah. But I feel like if I was invited to this event, I would be like, yeah, I'm gonna wear something of like a suit form because I feel like why not? Like when are you getting the chance? Like especially if like say celebrities usually out there going to events in a dress. Like, wouldn't it be so cool if you like dipped into the wild side for a little bit and like wore like a cool suit?
Yeah. And also there's so many fun ways to play with the suit.
Yeah. You can do like a little pantsless suit, but the appropriate pantsless suit from
not the
I liked Jenna Ortega's after party look. I feel like that is what Sabrina should have worn.
I need to see it. I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah. But there was also this pantsless suit that Pharrell did, which we're referencing, with a bunch of like black figures like on her like crotch area, and there's like a photo of like Cynthia like looking at it like
why is my face right there?
Like, well, that's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd feel if I saw my face on somebody's crotch.
Okay.
Depends on the context. Okay, one of my favorites, I think, is Lewis Hamilton, and he was one of the hosts.
Yeah.
What I really loved about his outfit was this kind of like play between eras. So his hat, which I think it was just like a beret.
Yeah, like a little.
Like a little braid that was reminiscent of the Black Panther movement.
Yeah.
A lot of the Black Panthers wore those berets.
Yeah.
And I think they're so cool looking. And he had that bit of history. And then also, you know, he's wearing the more tailored suit that can be dated back even farther. Kind of had like these little bits of that like lace and ruffle that you would see in those tailored suits from the like late 1700s, early 1800s. So you kind of had this mix of dandyism eras, especially like Black dandyism eras.
Yeah.
Between like Harlem, Black Panther, and like kind of the OG dandyism.
And he was a host of the Met too.
And he crushed it.
Yeah, he did. And
he looked so sleek.
He did look really sleek, but also at the actual exhibit, they do have like some outfitting and like berets from like the Black Panthers, which was really cool to see as well.
So cool. Like I got chills.
Yeah.
Like, I love seeing every bit of the history.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say he was one of my favorites.
Another good host looks is we love A$AP Rocky.
Yes.
And we also love Coleman Domingo.
Yes.
But I really like Coleman Domingo had two looks. His like first like big blue cape was paying homage to Andre, who used to be the editor at Vogue, editor at large at Vogue, who passed away I think last year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it was last year. But I've always loved Coleman Domingo. I feel he's one of my favorite actors. I feel like lately he's kind of like having a larger moment. Yeah. I don't know. He's been like in really good stuff. I think the first thing I watched him in maybe was Euphoria, but even like he is like one of my favorite characters in that show in general. But everything that he wears like out and about, he's like, I feel like the epitome in my mind of like someone with like really like high style and like dandyism. He's always in like super cool dressing every event, and I'm like, wow. And he's such like a cool guy.
And honestly, like the word cool itself is a huge part of this exhibit. Like they had a whole section on like the word cool, because it was kind of like to be cool was kind of invented through dandyism.
He's just such like,
and he totally exhibits that.
I love the story of how he like met his husband in New York. He was just like riding a bicycle down the street, and they like, it's like, oh, like you're so beautiful. You guys should watch it.
Wait,
it was
that's
like
so
on like that British talk show where like all the celebrities like sit
oh
on
my
the couch.
Oh my gosh. I want to watch more of those because they crack me up.
Yeah.
I can't remember the host's name, but they're so funny.
It was really good.
I love that.
But yeah, I really liked both his outfits. His second look was like a checkered little moment. I feel like it's very 70s reminiscent.
I really like that. I like the like experimentation of different types of pattern
and
there.
Textures. Yeah.
I love when like outfits kind of play with that.
Yeah.
Another one I liked was Coco Jones. She had this really cool, like, it was all white too. I don't know why a lot of the looks that I liked were these kind of like monochromatic looks. But
there was a lot of white going on.
And there was a lot of white. I don't know the history about that one.
I don't know if it's just like the contrast of like wearing an all white outfit.
True.
Yeah.
But hers was really cool because it was like a suit, and then she had this like cape. And it was all like bejeweled. Like everything she was wearing was like really bejeweled. And another thing I remember reading about in the exhibit is how much like gold and like jewelry and stuff was a part of breaking out of like being seen as other or being seen as like lower class, you know?
And even the capes kind of remind me of like royalty from like Coleman Domingo's like blue royal cape. And then like her wearing Coco Jones wearing like her cape kind of being like looking like a queen. And then Diana Ross coming out in this like huge long like cape train, which was so crazy. Iconic. I think she said her last Met Gala was like 2002 or like 2003 or something. And Diana, she's like such a queen of music, God. Queen of disco. And I'm like, I love that she came out with like both of her like, actually I don't know if she only has 2 kids. 2 of her kids came out with her.
I think she has more, but yeah, like 2 of them. 2 of them with her.
Tracy Ellis Ross actually spoke at like her little graduation thing. I really like her.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I was like, that's so cool that I feel like this like exhibit's like bringing her like out of the woodworks to come out.
Get out there, Diana.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wait, it's so perfect. Like coming out. I'm coming out.
But I also really loved Ayo Edebiri's outfit. She usually is actually a Tom Brown girl. I feel like this past Bear press release, she was like wearing a lot of Tom Brown. I think she actually even wore Tom Brown the show.
Ooh.
But she like I feel like has already been like an androgynous dresser. Like
like she likes to play with like ties and.
But I noticed if it was not white or black, I feel like the pop of color was red.
Yes, I also noticed that.
She had this really beautiful like red beading because she was like wearing a dress with like a suit overcoat. But I feel like it was such a good tailored dress, and with the bead it was like, so I feel like so unique to her. And it was really nice. But I feel like I saw a lot of red.
Yes,
like so Tiana Taylor was wearing red. I can't remember who else, but like a lot of people I feel like that was the color of choice.
Yeah, I feel like red, black, and white. Like those were like the main colors.
And it was weird. I feel like the outfits that you saw that were like really contrasting, like Chapel Roan's like, oh my God, she's wearing hot pink, or like Cola Skull's wearing like a rainbow suit, and then like Coleman's wearing a bright blue suit. It was like they were the outliers to like everybody else.
Yeah, no, it's so true.
Which I feel like some people are more quick to judge a colorful outfit. I mean, at first we had lots of back and forth about Joey King.
Ooh, okay. Hot take. I loved her outfit. I did.
At first, I was a little like taken aback, so I was like, "Oh, like it's Joey King, like jump scare."
No offense, Joey King.
Yeah, but I feel like she just like as an actress has just like annoyed me in the past, or I feel like recently what she's been recently.
Okay.
So that's where like my stem of like hatred comes from.
That's so funny. I honestly don't think I've seen her since Ramona and Beezus.
What else has she been in? Wait, is she in the Kissing Booth?
Yes, and the Gypsy Rose one.
You know what's so random is that like she had dated
Jacob Elordi.
I was like, that was just like so random.
Yeah, they were in that together.
But yeah, she was just really annoyed at me at the Kissing Booth.
You're like, and this is where I forever hate her.
But the outfit was so good. Like
I
all the little mirrors and like
in the green suit
and like her undershirt, like mixing with the stripes.
I love how they played with like the tailoring of the suit itself, like the cut of the suit. I like how they played with the colors, the differences in the colors. Like it was just so vibrant and so fun. I think like I just really wanted to wear that suit.
Yeah, and then I was also like the contrast of her and Lorde behind her.
Oh my God.
I was like, dang.
And I know Lorde said like this was a really impactful gala for them because they've said before that they're like they explore gender identity and like kind of in this non-binary space. And so I think their outfit
was also a custom Tom Brown outfit.
Wow, Tom Brown.
I know. I know. You guys should go on his Instagram and like look at like all the different reels. I also love Milchek from Severance.
Oh.
And he had this really beautiful, like huge, like feathered piece like coming out of his pocket.
I love that.
It was really good.
Wait, okay, this is a side tangent, but I mean it's related. When you said feather, it made me think of this. So you know that song, I've told you this, Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Oh,
Dandy! Yes. Yankee Doodle Dandy. It was a song that was made to make fun of English like men who were dressed in dandy style. And then at the end, he's like stuck a feather in his cap and called him macaroni because macaronis were part of the dandy movement. They were like the name of a group.
I completely did not know that until you told me that the other day.
I was like, whoa. And I knew the macaroni like association with the song, but then a couple days later, I like arose from bed and I was like, Yankee Doodle dandy.
Wait a second.
But yeah, because feathers, that was like another big thing, is like you stick a feather somewhere and it adds a pop of
a color.
Yeah.
Speaking of feathers,
yeah,
Sabrina Carpenter. I feel like it was interesting because Pharrell, I did not really enjoy his like outfits, but then he had like a couple pieces in the exhibit that were a lot better than what he had going on the carpet.
Sabrina's did give like ring master or whatever,
or like
Bugs
Playboy Bunny.
Yeah, or Playboy Bunny.
Someone had posted this like, this is what you should have done, Sabrina, and like put on these like these tights with the outfit, like they kind of like did a little sketch over it, and she was like, you know what, you're so right, because like her after look looks so much better, but for some reason Pharrell had dressed two girls with no pants. It was her, and is her name Jenny? The one, it was the girl with the like the crotch faces.
Was she the White Lotus?
I think she was the White Lotus. I know she was like Lisa. I'm not really on the K-pop stuff, so I'm a little out of touch.
Because I had to dive into every White Lotus cast member.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, oh, she's a K-pop star.
Yeah.
And she has like such a following.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
They're all like mega famous.
Yeah. I guess we just were out of the loop.
Yeah. It's not my genre.
But I feel like the upper half of her looked gorgeous, though.
Yeah.
Like, the whole silhouette of it, I thought looked amazing on her. The faces were just a weird touch.
Yeah. But I just feel like some of the outfits, I feel like...
Oh, I did not like Kendall Jenner and Hailey Bieber.
Right.
It was boring.
So incredibly boring. Kylie was like, okay.
Yeah, she was a step up from them.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I saw somebody like put this and they were like, go to the Met Gala at 5 and then their shift at Aritzia like after.
It's so boring. I feel like between like Sabrina and them and like a couple other outfits where I feel like, you know, you're wearing a mini dress of some sorts. I think Hailey was wearing like a mini dress both to and after.
I think so, yeah. And they were just very basic. It was just kind of like a basic suit.
Yeah, because I feel like Hailey's was just like a straight suit, like mini dress.
Yeah, it was.
I'm like, could you make this a little bit more exciting for me? That's why I'm like
it wasn't dandy.
Add some pizzazz.
To me, that was just a suit. Like dandy is like about like tailored suiting with flair.
Yeah, and expressing yourself. Like that's what tailoring is, like tailoring it to you or like bespoke.
Yes.
But I feel like they were really late to showing up to the gala.
Yeah.
I feel like as they always are, but I'm like, you're showing up late for like, I feel like if you're going to show up late, like I feel like Rihanna does, like you're gonna have to bring something to like to the table.
Yeah. And you'd have to be like Rihanna herself.
Yeah. But you know what I was thinking of? I was like, I feel like maybe I just missed them, but I feel like I could have seen like some more Virgil Abloh archival looks.
Yeah.
Lala had a really good, she was like on the host at the top of the carpet. She had a really good old Virgil Abloh look on her. But I was remembering maybe like the first American exhibit installment of the Met a couple years ago. Kylie Jenner wore that.
Was it with the baseball cap?
Yes.
Wedding dress look?
Virgil Abloh look. And I was like,
I did not like that look. No offense to Virgil.
I feel like it was just like not, at that point, was he dead?
I think so.
I was like, this was not any way to like honor this man.
No, but I'm glad. So the exhibit we went to very much honored him and his involvement with Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, there was a lot of, it was sponsored by Louis Vuitton, but I think just so they could get like the archival pieces of like Virgil Abloh's pieces. But there was a lot of really great looks in there.
Oh my gosh. It was so good.
I did not enjoy Doechie's Louis Vuitton outfit though. I feel like it just looked like an LV billboard.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's worn a lot of really great Tom Brown stuff in the past. At the Grammys, everyone on stage was wearing Did you watch that? Everyone on
Mm.
stage was wearing, like, I think Tom Brown for, like, her
Really?
little performance.
I didn't know that.
It was really good. I feel like she usually is, like, looking so slay, but I'm like, okay. But wait, speaking of artists, Andre 3000 coming out with a whole ass piano on his back.
Oh, I want to know what
I love that
made
man.
of.
Well, he has, like, a new album out now. He's also, like, I didn't realize how old he was. He's older.
Yeah.
But I was like, the whole piano. I liked his piano. And I like John Batiste. Is that how you say his name? He came out with the saxophone. Was playing the saxophone.
Yeah.
Was he also a host of the Met? There was like 4 men, I think. But you know what's interesting is I don't think they had any women on the panel, which I'm like kind of like.
Yeah, there's a lot of women that would have been great on the panel.
Like throw Io on the panel. Yeah. Like she's always dressing like so tailored and so cool.
Yeah.
But the woman who curated the exhibit like was a Black woman.
Okay, love.
I saw like some clips of her, but I feel like that was good.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
I also was kind of thinking to myself, like, obviously it takes a long time. I'm sure they have the next couple years themes picked out and they could like change them.
Yeah, and it takes like a year to get ready for the gala.
Yeah. And I was thinking like, of course, this is perfect for Anna Wintour to do this because she had some racism allegations, didn't she? I mean, because, Devil Wears Prada, she.
Yeah. Saving her ass.
I also feel like her outfit was boring AF.
It was. I wonder if she just like does that to feel like, I don't know, because she creates it. So she's like, I need, how like every fashion designer comes out like in a t-shirt and jeans and after like all their looks.
I feel like because we're just like exhausted and
right,
just like waltzing out there. But I don't know. I feel like Anna, something about her, I'm like, let go.
Yeah, let loose Anna.
I like her little bob that's like hiding in her face. But
one time I had a dream that I was in Anna Wintour's Uber.
So random.
I know. We were like on the Upper East Side. I don't even know if that's where she lives. Probably. Maybe the Upper West.
She's definitely an Upper East Sider.
She's definitely an Upper East Sider. But yeah, I had this dream that like I needed to get to where I was going. And I was like, oh, can I like use your Uber? Can I like hop in here with you?
Sorry, Anna.
Sorry, can I scoot over?
Get in there, please.
Just drop me off in Williamsburg. She was really nice in my dream.
I don't know about that in real life. It's interesting, like she'll like talk about her like her friendships with like some of these celebrities. We like, oh, like Anna's inviting me, like we were talking about. Yeah. Like, I think she had like picked out Lala's like Virgil Abloh outfit, and I was just like, okay, I wonder what it's like interacting with her, like not in front of a camera,
right? And with her glasses off.
She had her glasses off like when she was being interviewed. I was like,
oh. That's why I've ever seen her eyes.
That's why I'm like, she looks like a little turtle coming out of her shell, like her little bob.
Yeah, she's emerging. I feel like we should kind of walk through our like favorite exhibition looks. And like, also there was a lot of like information on the styles, which was really cool.
I feel like the first one that pops into my head is this like crushed silk velvet. Mm-hmm. Like a little bit of like a utility, almost like an old military jacket that was like made into the velvet, and it had these incredible like seashells. It almost just felt like Southern American inspired, like with this like huge just like draping
like a crochet
beaded, almost like a 1920s like crochet. I'm sure the 1920s like got the era from like before.
It's and like I think it is like reminiscent of like certain African style. With those like shells like kind of
dripping down. It was so
beautiful.
good.
And the shoes looked very like 1700s, 1800s, where they reminded me of what you would see like the French aristocracy wearing.
It was like really cool because I feel like you could see like contrast from like some different styles. I like have this photo of like a really like upcycled tailored piece with all the pins, and then in the background you can see like the Victorian era age, like
you saw the evolution of things and like the incorporation of different eras.
Because I feel like some like nothing's original. I feel like some like pieces like will be moving on involved, like the suiting aspect, especially like as we move through. But it's funny to see like how it changes over time. I was like giggling. I loved the suiting with the one that looked like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I love that like tapered pant. I feel like what made me think of the movie is the way that they were posted up, like standing there, like
Yes, they were both there. They were ready for business. They looked like they had like deals to make.
Yeah.
One of the first ones also that stood out to me was the one that had like a bunch of safety pins. It was like in the beginning.
Yeah, that was the one in front of the
I loved that one.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the first really creative one that I saw, and it kind of had this mix of like a revolutionary era, which a lot of the time period of dandyism and stuff revolved around, because it was like the Revolutionary War and like the revolution. They took like the style from like the French Revolution, the American Revolution, and differentiated themselves, you know, from being oppressed, like and so they played into this revolutionary style, and so I loved seeing it, and it was kind of like ripped up and the safety pins all around it, playing with different like structures. That was a really cool look.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed the Ivy League
oh my god, the Ralph Lauren. I loved those.
Probably like circa like maybe the 50s, I think.
I loved the sweatpant look, the sweatpant with like the more like preppy top half and like those sneakers. Like those were like sexy outfits. I don't know what about it. And then you really like the other one. Like the one next to it. I feel like you like that one even more.
I can't remember which one.
It had like that really cute little hat and like the scarf.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the preppy like
the resurgence of the scarf. I love like I was talking about how I love a scarf that like is this way but flows back.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of like tied in the front.
Yep.
But Pharrell's one outfit with the tweed, the airline outfit.
Yes. I actually that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I feel like I've like been remembering that one. But even like as we got to like the end of the exhibit, you saw like more outfits like in like a kind of a spun out circle. I really enjoyed like they had like pieces of like famous like celebrities, like they had a Miles Davis like old like Brooks Brothers like blazer, and I love Miles Davis of so many of his records. And then they had Dapper Dan's outfit next to him. Oh my
gosh, and I love seeing Dapper Dan get the recognition he deserves. You know, he's a Harlem native,
right?
That really changed. Like he was such a dandy. You know what I mean? Like he embraced dandyism. He took upscale brands that people rarely had access and affordability to, especially within his Harlem community, and he said, "I'm going to give him access, but in my own way." You know, and he pushed some boundaries, and he, you know, like revolutionized bringing name brand to people who deserve to feel special. Right. And
I really love that they included him. I also love how they included like a bit about the Harlem Renaissance, like under where it said like Juk and like driving, and they had like the clip of them dancing.
Oh, those dances were so good.
It reminded me of Sinners. I know that you haven't seen it, but for our listeners who have, it just reminded me of the scene where he's playing the guitar, and like he's playing the guitar and music, they're all dancing, and like all the ghosts of like past and present come out. Like they had someone who looked like MC Hammer come out, and like different guitarists, and they had people from like the past and like in like traditional garb, and it was just so interesting.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm so excited to see that movie, and when that scene comes, I'm gonna think of you.
It's like just like what a time to be alive. Like Sinners comes out, and then like this Met Gala exhibit.
Yeah,
like
what a beautiful harmony.
Yeah,
I also really loved. There was I think it was Burberry. Maybe I'm wrong actually on that. I'll have to maybe correct me if you remember. There was a suit that looked like houndstooth from afar, but you walk closer and the houndstooth was
Virgil Abloh.
That's right.
Yeah,
that was a beautiful suit. I loved that suit, and it was so creative to use like the continent of Africa as the houndstooth design.
I feel like the most designer that we saw throughout the whole exhibit was Virgil Abloh.
Yeah.
And I feel like rightfully so. We had so many different types of pieces.
It's kind of like a tribute too.
And I feel like he was like such a pivotal designer.
Yeah.
And I was like, remember like those off-white like safety harnesses?
Yes.
Luckily none of those were in the exhibit, but I like remember my first year at FIT and all the kids were wearing them, and I was like, dang, I was like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what's happening.
You should have gotten one. But I'm so glad he got like a lot of recognition.
Yeah.
Another look I really loved, we both pointed this one out, was that one that looked like it was dripping kind of like these beads.
Right. All these like rainbow jewels. It like
Those
looks
were
so
stunning,
tasty.
like
Yeah.
dripping in jewels.
Yeah.
I loved that one.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
I feel like it was just like such a good this exhibit was such a good I feel like celebration by the end because at the beginning you see like some of the that Brooks Brothers like slave garment.
Yes, there was like a little, it was like for a child too, like a slave child.
Yeah.
It was like a tiny little tailored
which is so
suit.
it's just like oh
So fucked.
so like bone chilling to like go through there and then but then like as you go on it's just
You're
like,
seeing them reclaim themselves.
yeah.
It's a revolutionary like freedom of choice and like of what to wear.
And I feel like they definitely made more like trends and like better things than like some of us could ever have.
Oh,
like
I know.
some of the things I'd seen like wow that's really cool.
They really took it and made it better.
Yeah.
Another thing that was interesting from the exhibit was this little story about the couple. They were slaves.
Oh, right.
And the wife, she was white passing. And her husband like cut her hair off to make her look more masculine, dressed her in a tailored style. So like that also kind of played into the cross dress, like playing with gender also, you know, like women wearing these more masculine outfits. And then her husband pretended to be her slave. So that way they could escape up north through the Underground Railroad.
Which is so heart-wrenching. And the word next out was disguise.
Yeah.
Which I'm like,
yeah, like they used these outfits to like to get out of their situations.
Yeah. Which is so unimaginable.
I know.
And I feel like this is like a really cool exhibit too for maybe like tourists from like other countries who maybe aren't like super sure. Yeah.
No, it's so true. Like I learned so much from this that I never would have known. I also really liked that green plaid set.
Yeah.
With like, I like how it was like all the way buttoned up and then they had like the fun gold jewelry on the neck.
Yeah. It was so interesting to see, like, Brooks Brothers is so old, like, having that slave jacket and then, like, having the Miles Davis and then, like, now, because Brooks Brothers is owned by, like, the same corporation that we work for, our Lucky brand. So it's, like, weird. I'm like...
Like, we literally work at their headquarters.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to... crazy.
I wonder, like, if they... I wonder if in our office that they have some of the... They must have, like, their archival pieces somewhere else.
I think we have to go on a search.
Because they definitely do not have that. Our office is so small.
Yeah, no. Also, I feel like those are usually owned by, like,
museums. Yeah.
And I don't think they have a museum.
Yeah. So, like, they definitely don't have any of that. It's like...
Imagine if it was just, like, in their sample closet.
No. It's so dark in the exhibit for the purpose of, like, the older garments. So, like... you know, disintegrate. And obviously don't go in there and start flashing your camera, else you'll get in trouble.
Yeah, I also really like that a lot of the people in there were not, like, on their phones.
And they were, like, really respectful. I remember we were looking at the Frederick Douglass outfit, and I was like, why is there no buttons? And then this really nice man, like, next to us who's wearing a really cute tailored outfit himself.
He was adorable.
And he was like, oh, that's because they usually use, like, a pearl cuff link, whatever, to, like, close the button.
Yeah. He was so sweet. And I love when strangers are so, like, respectful about, like, entering the conversation, like, contributing to, like, you know, it's like, oh, we're all, like, in this together.
Yeah, and that one girl, when we were talking about when the...
Yes.
Because they do have, like...
Those are very, like, Prince era.
Yeah. Garments. Oh, wait, they did have a Prince shirt. I meant to say that. That was so fun. I was like, dang.
I loved seeing that transition. I loved the white pieces next to those, too, that had, like, a lot of the drapery and, like, the lace and, like, the ruffle.
So cool.
It was amazing.
We get to do and see really cool things in New York City.
Yes, we do. I love it. I love that we take advantage of it, too.
Yeah. Also, wait, I meant to ask, you know, why isn't, like, the word dandy in the title of the exhibit? It's SuperFine Black Tailoring, or tailored. I was, like, looking at the flyer, like, before I came.
That's actually a good question. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Maybe they just wanted to make it seem more, like, specific.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know where SuperFine came from. You know, like I don't even know where that term
Because I
came
feel
from.
like no one like at when I was watching the live stream was using the word SuperFine. They kept using the word dandy.
Maybe like because dandy has so many meanings, it could be confusing. So maybe they use SuperFine to kind of like bring something unique to the name, and then dandy was like a component of it.
I also meant to say, to set the scene, as my mom says, that it is so like cool to walk down if you hit it off of like 83rd or like up the block towards the north and you walk through the trees. It's like a couple of days earlier, the celebrities were waiting in these trees because they line up and then they walk up the stairs. It was just like, it's just like so cool to be
like, oh, we're in their footsteps.
Yeah. So I always wonder, like, they can't take pictures inside the exhibit or the gala, but for like people like who maybe don't really know what happens, I know like one thing is that in the huge room with the pyramids and the windows that, you know, Jackie Kennedy would see from like her, they like put on like a show in there, like a concert. And I think like, I'm pretty sure ASAP and Rihanna were like singing.
That's iconic.
And they also like have a dinner, and I'm assuming like at some point I don't know, like how do they all like just go and look at this at their own leisure? Right. So I feel like it's also like they're all like probably incredibly drunk and on the substances because it's like nerve-wracking in general to go do that. Event. So I'm like, are they
taking the time to enjoy the Met?
Yeah, and also like I feel like they're like, would you be like hazardous being a little drunk like next to all these like artifacts?
I know, like oops, just knock over an ancient vase.
Luckily, like the old stuff is in a case. So I'm like, how does this work out?
Oh my god! But yeah, like if I had like several drinkies, I would get more close than I should.
Yeah, I'd be like, let me touch this soap.
What's the texture on this? No.
There's also a lot of other really good things to see at the Met right now in general.
Yeah.
They have like that Paris Sargent exhibit, which I want to see.
I want to see that. We'll have to do that.
And then the Met Gala exhibit is right near like the European painting wing, which we love so much.
Oh my gosh. I love going there. We had fun like just frolicking around before.
Yeah. And
we'll also have to show, I'll like have to put a clip of our outfits that we wore.
Oh yeah.
I think we looked so cute.
It's just so fun to go to the Met and like dress up. And if you go on like a warm day when the roof is open, that's to go back when the roof is open. Yeah.
Yeah. You look so cute in your little dress.
Thanks. I literally got dressed in 5 minutes. I'm the queen of getting dressed.
And you crushed it. I tried to find something dandy adjacent, which is hard for me in my closet. Like I don't have a whole lot like that. Yeah. But I feel like I found what I needed.
I have like some like wool blazers that I got from Brooks Brothers sample sale, but like I'm not.
But yeah, how would you wear that comfortably?
No.
Yeah. And it was like pretty warm.
Yeah.
That day. I mean, it was rainy, but it was warm.
Yeah. But it was also like so nice being in the exhibit too, because I feel like people were like, oh, this is members only today.
Right. We're like, yes, and we are. Well, you are, and I am your plus one.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad we got to go together.
Me too. I'm so glad that we did this, and maybe we'll talk about other art exhibits in the future.
Yeah.
Give you so many New Yorkers things to do.
And with that,
that's the afternoon tea.
That's the afternoon tea.